Freeman actually recruited him. He's kind of like Carrico. You know, he's not very tall, but he's a thick guy, and he can run. Now, if Craig Stevens plays, Craig Stevens is their MVP of their defense last year. He's been out the first couple games. Who knows if he's going to play? I assume he will. He's a big old, tall, long drink of water, and recruited him as well. So know him well. He's a big guy. So they've got a SEC type of defense. There's no doubt about it from a personnel standpoint.
Kevin, you mentioned earlier that you haven't had to throw a lot. You haven't had to do that earlier. Have you been pleased with how these young guys have and the newer guys have kind of integrated themselves into the offense?
Yeah, they've done a good job. We hadn't had many drops. You know, guys have taken advantage of their opportunities, and that's been good to see. I think Ash had a drop, but he's been around here forever. And then I can't remember, seemed like we had one other night, but tight end had a drop. But we're I think making progress. I think it's been really good. It's a work in progress, but I think Jerron Brown is a guy we've talked about, and he's really stepped up and made some plays for us, and he's going to have to make more as we go throughout the season. And same thing with Bryce. Bryce has been flashy, which that's what he is right now. He has the ability to get vertical, and he plays long. Got excellent hands. Clear has shown up and made some nice plays for us. Marquand has been consistent for us, and so going to come a time when we're going to have to line up and throw the ball 40 times or so. That there will come a time, and hopefully these guys will respond the right way and keep getting better.
We were talking with Antoine yesterday, who mentioned that when he first started playing, he was quote unquote a raw talent. How far has he come in the 3 years since he's been in the starting lineup? Well,
he's really developed into a good football player. He played before he was ready, but just didn't have any other choice. And now he's mentally and physically ready. He was just physically ready as a freshman, and he's been a real work in progress. But he has really developed into a very, very good player. He's powerful. He's our most powerful guy. He's tough and nasty and likes to play, wants to please, very coachable. And I think that if this is his year to make himself relevant, nationally, because he's capable of being one of the better guys out there in the country. I really believe that. But he's going to have to play dominant every single week. And he's capable of that. So he's a guy that we're counting on to continue to get better.
Yeah, but is this the kind of game on the road at night in a hostile environment where Kyle coming back is really going to pay dividends?
Well, I sure am glad we got him going down there, and no doubt about that. He's, experience is, you just can't put a price on it, and experience doesn't mean you always play good, but it just means from a preparation standpoint, and having been there, you're probably not going to be overwhelmed. You're probably not going to get caught up in the clutter. So I think he's off to a great start this week with his preparation, and came in here. He's been in here on his own several times, just studying the film, and it's a great opportunity for him to play well, and nobody talking about Kyle Parker. And we hadn't done anything yet, so we'll hopefully that'll change Saturday night.
Last year, getting down early against Georgia Tech on the road in the game, but is it important to kind of weather that first initial storm of emotion that the other team may have in the crowd? And how important do you see those first, say, 10 minutes being in a game?
Well, I think and every team's different, and that's the one thing I don't know yet. And in fact, I told the team that I don't know. The one thing, and we didn't win the game down there last year, but when I left the game, in fact, I told our staff the next day, I said, guys, we got a chance to have when I saw the way they responded to adversity, because that team last year, when adversity came, that particular game, they got stronger, they got closer. When adversity came in our season, when we didn't get off to the start we wanted, they got stronger. they got closer. And that's really what you find out with adversity. You either get stronger or you frazzle. And, this football team, I don't know yet, because we really haven't been challenged in that regard. So how we respond to adversity, because listen, if you think there ain't going to be some adversity at Auburn Saturday night, you don't need to go. You need to stay home, because they're going to make some plays. There's going to be some crazy things happen. It's just college football, we're not dealing with perfect people here. There's going to be some mistakes, but it's how you handle it. It's how you respond to that. That's critical, no question. And being able to stay focused and stay dialed in and be able to keep on keeping on. And that's what our team did last year. And we've yet to find that out on this group. So we'll see.
Is it anything special for you with your background at Alabama, and when you see Auburn on the schedule? I know that's probably got to bring up and conjure some memories from your Alabama days.
Oh yeah, it's fun to be able to. I mean, this is what I do for a living, and you grow up, be like Tim going to play Notre Dame. If we ever get Notre Dame on the schedule, it'd be like going over to play Notre Dame. It's something that you, as a child, you grew up following Alabama, Auburn, and all that stuff, and then having been a part of 13 of those games as a player and a coach, brings back good memories, and it's fun to be able to. I love football in this region of our country, and so I think it's a great matchup for our fans. Both fan bases, and should be a heck of a ball game. But we don't. Like I said, we don't do anything different, but it's fun to be able to go play Auburn.
What is your confidence level in your linebackers, specifically going up against all the crazy stuff they're probably going to see Saturday?
Well, you can ask me that on Thursday. We'll see them practice all week, but it's going to be a challenge. I mean, they do a lot of things. They don't really run a lot of different plays as much as it is formations and shifts and motions and to get to the same place. And they try to distract you with their tempo and with all their personnel movement type stuff. That's what they try to do. So, we're going to have to do as good a job as we can simulating that with our scout teams. It's not easy to do. To try to create the discipline that we have to have with our eyes. They're keys, because next thing you know, you're sucked in on some play action, and you got number 2 out, and there he goes, and it's a wheel route up the sideline. He's wide open. So you have to really do a great job, with your eyes and just being disciplined, and it's a concern, and no doubt about it, because they're going to have to play well. I thought Carrico played probably his best game at Clemson this past week. And so hopefully that's a good sign for him. We are getting Brandon May back, and he's not played yet. That's a little bit of a concern, but hopefully between him and Tig and Quandon, we'll combine to have a good effort from that linebacker group.
How do you simulate 6'6", 250 pounds for quarterback?
You don't. Go over there and see if Brownell let me borrow one of them basketball players. You don't. I mean, it's tough. I mean, Taylor Ogle's going to do as good a job as he can, but he might be 6'5", but he's probably about closer to 155 than he is 255. Fundamentals, are still fundamentals. You still have to bend properly. You got to, form up properly. Have your hat where it's supposed to be. Run through them. And do a great job of rallying to the ball. That's the biggest thing. Is just, it ought to look like we got 12 on the field. That's how you have to rally to the ball. And it's going to take that kind of effort for us to contain him. But one guy, is going to have a hard time with this quarterback. If we're consistently getting one-on-one matchups, it's going to be difficult. So it's going to be important that you get a piece of flesh and hang on to it, and somebody else gets there in a hurry. So he's a good player, no doubt about it.
You probably have some
quarterback draws or whatever for him. I mean, where does the burden on your defense fall with the ends, the linebackers, in terms of him getting out of the pocket and doing this thing?
Yeah, they have a lot of designed runs for him, but he's very good at that. I don't know how many, he's made a bunch of third downs. Like I said, he's their leading rusher, but just as soon as you get lulled to sleep on him, 27 and 23 and 5, they're really good backs, and they'll rip you for a big play. But he's made a lot of plays on scrambles. Like I said, you do a great job covering. You can do a great job with your rush lane, and the next thing you know, he's made one guy miss, and you're 20 yards down the field. So that's discipline with our rush, and make sure that our eyes know where the ball is at all times, and that we got to change things up. We can't have the same type of rush. We got to create different looks for him, so maybe he doesn't get a comfort zone of where to flush, so to speak, because he's dangerous. He's dangerous when he's just creating, and we got to get after him.
Would you say that Brandon Clear appears to be more of a confident player right now, confident, more loose?
Oh yeah. He's doing a good job. Graded out very well this week. He had a great kid, ran out of his shoe off the line, and still was able to finish the play and make a great catch on the sideline. And that's what we're hoping to get from him. I mean, he's a big, long guy that can really get vertical down the field. But he's practiced extremely well. But we've seen flashes of that in the past, and it just hasn't translated, on game day. And a lot of that, in his defense, is, he's what I would call a rep guy. And, he's not one of those guys that can, just get it. He has to rep things. And he's been backing up, some good players, and he hasn't had as much opportunity. And this is just finally his time where he's getting a lot of opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it so far. So hopefully he'll continue to do that. He's done that in practice. And I'm glad to see that him finally have some success on game day. But, we'll continue to, hopefully challenge him and hopefully get the same kind of production as we go through the season. But he's definitely more confident.
You mentioned earlier that, you guys aren't carrying any kind of banner or anything. Still, with the way some ACC teams have performed in some of these early games, is that a chip that you guys can bring with you into that game that, hey, there's a chance for us to show the ACC is not what some are saying it is?
We got all the chips we need. We're like I said, Commissioner Swafford hadn't called me up yet and made a plea or anything like that. We're just it's great if we can go win the ball game and represent our conference. You always want to represent your conference, but I'm just more interested in Clemson, to be honest with you. And people, I know ACC didn't have a good weekend last weekend. SEC didn't have a good weekend the weekend before. They lost to Northwestern and Jacksonville State, and Oregon. You go to Oklahoma, you go to Ohio State. I don't care what logo you go up there with. It's hard places to win, and then just like happened at Ole Miss, you go to Virginia Tech. Shouldn't happen, but it did, and that's college football. You got to come ready to play every week, and so. I don't think one weekend defines a whole season. There's a lot of games left to be played, and hopefully the ACC will, when it's all said and done, play better in some key games and produce a great champion. But 2 games into the season, no, we're not feeling any extra pressure to be the banner carrier for the ACC. We're just and just get better as a team.
To follow up, just because Georgia Tech may have lost and Florida State may have lost, that certainly doesn't diminish how you can, the esteem you have for those teams when you'll win.
No, not hardly. It's just like this game day deal, everybody's been talking about game day. Listen, game day's not there to see Clemson. They're there to see Auburn. We haven't earned any of that stuff. We're just trying to, earn it. And we have the opportunity to do that. We've got a very good schedule, and hopefully when it's all said and done, you know, just like last year, we finished 24th, and that football team earned it. You know, they earned it, and that's a great thing when you know nobody's giving you anything. You've gone out and you've worked for it and you've earned it.